Hey there, this is Leslie Kolovich, and you're listening to the SUP Radio Show, where we talk everything stand-up paddling. This session is brought to you by Precision Paddleboards, Fort Lauderdale's stand-up paddleboard shop. The right board for every rider. Visit precisionpaddleboards.com. Today's show, we are talking with Arlene Cohen. She is a 42-year-old mother of three. She's a firefighter for 14 years, a snowboarder, and a paddleboarder. And in her own words, oh yeah, an amputee. Hey Arlene, how you doing?
I'm doing good today, thank you.
Very good to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. You know, your story is very encouraging, very courageous, and one that, I'm very much looking forward to getting out to the SUP community. You are an amputee, and it's your left leg, is that right?
Yes, it's my left leg below the knee.
All right. Let's talk about how that happened, because it's a story that could happen to just about anybody who does what you're doing. Back in 2006, the last run of the day for snowboarding.
Yeah, I was coming down. It was the last run of the day. I was on my way down to pick up my daughter to go up and take our pictures, our holiday pictures for the following year. And I was coming down an easy run. Someone cut me off, and I just went to stop. And when I stopped, I felt like something pop in my ankle. Oof. And I thought I sprained it. Uh-huh. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to come down. So I waited for the people that I was waiting for in the first place to meet up with me, and I told them I can't get up. So they got ski patrol for me, and to make a long story short, they took me down to the clinic, and the doctors took an x-ray, and before I even asked for it, he goes, give her painkillers. I said, oh, this has to be bad.
This is not good.
No, I'm a medic, and it's not good. They usually don't give you painkillers if you ask. So he comes back about 30 minutes later and tells me that I have shattered my ankle. Shattered your ankle? Yes, the distal end of my tibia into 10 pieces. And I wasn't going home anytime soon. I was going to need surgery. And
okay, so you live in Florida, right?
I live in Florida, and this happened in Breckenridge, Colorado.
In Colorado, so you were a long ways from home.
I was, and it was my boyfriend, and my daughter at that time was 3. So it was interesting. So how long did you have to stay in Colorado? I was there for about 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That's life-altering in many ways, 6 weeks away from home. Did your boyfriend stay, or tell us the story there? Yeah, George, he was great. He stayed with me. He took care of my daughter until my sister could fly in to bring her home. I had 2 surgeries when I was out there. The community was great. They have a program set up with a local hotel that you'd stay for barely nothing if you have a family member in the hospital. So that was good. At least it made me feel better. Right. I was out of work that whole time that I was there, and but they put my ankle back together as best as they could. And as soon as I was given the okay to fly home, I did fly home. It had to do with blood clots because of the flight and the type of injury. Right. They were worried about me flying and getting a blood clot. Ooh, yeah. So I was there for about 6 weeks, and then I came home, and I was non-weight bearing for about another 12 weeks. And then as soon as they told me I could start walking, I did. But the pain was excruciating pain. But so you still knew something wasn't right. I knew something wasn't right, and I kept telling the doctor something wasn't right, and he basically told me that it's the type of injury I was going to have to live with pain my entire life. But nice. I knew there wasn't something right, so I went back to my original doctor, and they did a CT scan, and they found that I had a hole in the bone. So it's called a non-union. So they went in and they packed it with bone, and I was non-weight bearing again for a few weeks, and then the bone finally started to take. So being non-weight bearing is so not easy. I had knee surgery, and I did that for 8 weeks, and I cannot even imagine being non-weight bearing for the amount of time you were. I mean, Yeah, it was at first, in between, I think 3 years, I had about 14 surgeries. Oh, my. And every time I would have surgery, I would be non-weight bearing. But as soon as they told me I could bear weight, I would go right back to work. As a full-duty firefighter, just thinking, okay, this is what life is. It's just pain and work, and, I'm going to get through this. Right. But then I got an infection on my skin, and I thought I had MRSA, because MRSA was going around the fire department, which is a staph infection. So when I went into the emergency room, the doctor took a look at it. He said, yep, you have MRSA. but they wanted to make sure it wasn't in the bone because
right.
it was right over an incision point. Well, when they went in, they found that I had osteomyelitis, and that's a bone infection inside the bone that had been eating away at the bone.
Which was probably causing all the pain.
Yep, that was what was causing all the pain.
Oh.
So at that point, the doctor was wonderful. He went in there and put antibiotic beads in the bone, and once again, it was non-weight bearing, and he had to scrape the bone. I had 4 surgeries in 4 months, trying to get all the infection out.
Oh.
So when they finally got the infection out, they were going to reconstruct the ankle, and I was going to go home. Mm-hmm. Well, this was in August of 2009, and I wake up thinking, oh, my ankle's reconstructed. They were going to take bone from my hip. And I wake up and, oh, there's nothing on my hip. I said, oh, this isn't good, because that was the only place they had bone to reconstruct.
Right.
So the doctor comes in and wouldn't tell me anything, what was going on. He said, just wait till the morning. So, of course, I couldn't wait. Mm-hmm. So when I finally was not out of the anesthesia and back in the room, I asked George what was going on, and he then told me that I did not have enough bone to reconstruct. I didn't have enough ankle joint or anything left in the area to reconstruct it, that it would work properly. So at that point, he told me they're going to have to amputate your leg.
Wow.
Or fuse it. I chose amputation because with a fusion, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. When you fuse a joint, it doesn't move.
Right, right.
So they wouldn't guarantee me no pain. And at this point in my life, I said, I can't have any more pain.
Right.
I have kids. I got to run around with them. I need to work. And I couldn't go back to work as a firefighter with a fusion, but they would let me go back with an amputation.
Wow.
So I decided that day it's time for it to go. And I don't look back, because it's the best decision I could have made.
Well, from looking at your pictures and everything that you're doing, you just kicked right in and just kept moving forward with life. That didn't keep you down at all.
No, I just kept going. When I was in the hospital, I just started looking for people that are amputees and that were doing sports, that were firefighters, what I would have to do to get to where I want to be. I started making contacts online. I started calling people. And everyone I spoke to was wonderful and very informative and told me what I had to do. And they told me it was going to be a long road, but once I was healed and on a prosthetic, that things would look up. And they were absolutely correct. I have a great doctor, and the guy who makes my prosthetics is wonderful. And without his help, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Very
cool. So this prosthetic that you have, obviously, it can get wet.
Yes.
That's important, I'm imagining.
It is, because I'm in the water a lot. Even doing my rehab, I swam a lot. And, of course, now I'm paddleboarding, and I do tend to fall. But I do see the water quite a bit, and it is waterproof, and the metal won't rust. So it's a great prosthetic.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about how you got into stand-up paddling. You're very athletic to start off with. You know, as a firefighter, you're very strong to begin with. And then how did you get into paddleboarding?
Well, for my 40th birthday, I was in the hospital. I was having one of my surgeries. So it's a big birthday, and I really couldn't celebrate it. On my 41st birthday, I had just gotten my leg, and I was still getting used to it. So when my 42nd birthday came around, I told George, George, I really want to try paddleboarding. But I told him this like 2 years prior. I told him this before my amputation, that I wanted to try the sport. And he remembered. So for my 42nd birthday, a few of my friends got together, and we went out on the boat, and they brought paddle boards with them. They brought 4 different boards for me to try, and I fell in love from the minute I tried it.
Right on.
So it was great. I knew once I was on that board and I got the balance on, I said, oh, I could do this.
Yeah, and now you're racing.
I am. I'm doing my best. I did my first race, I believe, was in October. It was in St. Petersburg, and, oh, my goodness, I can't remember the name of it.
Water monkey.
Water monkey.
Yeah.
Yes. I did the water monkey, and I did a class with Chase.
Nice.
Yes, which was very good.
Learning from the best.
Yes. Well, I learned Marianne Boyer was my instructor, and she's the one who taught me how to race and got me into it. So that was good.
So she's your neighbor?
She's not my neighbor. She's actually friends with my neighbor who put me in contact with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, let's also talk about this charity that you have put together. It's really amazing. Arlene's Levee Ride?
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about this.
We put this together when I was in the fire academy. I used to ride my bike a lot in the levee, which is behind Markham Park in Broward County. Mm-hmm. And one of my coworkers at the department remembered that. And after the surgery, he said, "You can get back into biking?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to bike again." So he says, "Well," he said, "what about, let's start a charity." I go, "Okay." He says, everyone, when I was out of work, all people I work with donated their sick time to me.
Nice.
And worked for me. So I didn't go without a paycheck for those 15 or 18 months I wasn't working. So a way for me to give back to them was to raise money for our sick and injured fund. So we started this bike ride, and it's a 5, 10, 15, 20, and 38, I think they're going to have this year, miles around the levee, which is on the Everglades.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
So it's really pretty. You're out there in the Everglades and just riding they have like a gravel road. So the way the charity started was for me to give back to my department. So this year, we're all doing it for Derek Aviles, which is a Hollywood firefighter who broke his neck skimboarding on the beach. And they told him that he was going to be a quadriplegic. Mm-hmm. Well, he is not a quadriplegic now. He has been healing, and he actually took his first steps about 3 or 4 months ago, and they expect him actually to get out of the chair.
Fantastic.
So he's been working hard, but the insurance only covers a certain amount of physical therapy. And I ran into the same problem. Mm-hmm. So we're raising funds for him so he make sure he gets enough therapy that he's going to be able to get back to what he wants to do. Oh,
that's fantastic. That's great. And so the website for this is arlenesleveeride.com. You can check it out. And you're also putting on a kind of a SUP event as well. Is that right?
Yes, we're trying to put something together. We're going to call it Paddle Dabble, mm-hmm. because I hear so many people that want to try paddling, and they just don't want to go out there by themselves, or don't know how to go rent a board, or can't transport the board, or just don't have anyone to do it with. So we're thinking of putting together an event that we could get people out there, make it a small donation, and have a bunch of boards out there so people could try this, so they could try the sport. That's a great idea. I love it. Absolutely love it. And when we were thinking, didn't you have isn't it pretty soon you were trying to get this together? We're thinking about June. Okay. We don't have a date yet. We're trying to get through the levee ride first, which is January 21st. And that's what's soon. January 21st is the levee ride. Very cool. All right. Well, you are inspiring to many. And, I love seeing all your photos of all the activities that you're doing. I mean, you haven't stopped a minute. You're a great mother, and you're an athlete. You're a firefighter. Thank you very much for putting yourself on the line for everybody, in your county that you work for. And it's been a pleasure talking with you. Well, thank you very much. And I hope to see you. You will. You will. I'm sure I will. Be at some Florida thing, and I will get passed by you, I'm sure, on a race. Well, very good. And you have a fantastic afternoon. Thank you. All right. See you later. All right. Bye. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to the SUP Radio Show. As always, you go to supradioshow.com for this podcast and many, many more. Everybody, get out there, stand up, and paddle. You'll enjoy it. You make a difference in your life and someone else's. See you guys.